Hey everybody, I'm Becki Adams. Thank you for stopping by today. Today I have a mood board inspired layout and you can see the mood board right there. And I am using the July 2021 Hit Kit kits. So I did a couple of things off camera to get started on this project. And one of them was to stitch around this piece of white cardstock with my sewing machine and some white thread. And then I'm going to take my T-square ruler and just make sure that I have that white cardstock centered in the beautiful pattern paper background. This pattern is an exclusive to the Hip Kit Club. And as I mentioned earlier, it comes in the July 2021 kits. So the other thing that I did to get started on this project was to make stacks and do a little bit of hand stitching on these flowers. And I have had so much fun with these flowers from the embellishment kit. There are so many layers, it seems like you can make an endless array of flowers. So I have 4 here, and this is actually using up all of the flowers that that came in the embellishment kit. After I got this layout done, then I've got them all done. So the other thing that I am using to put these flowers together is some of the acetate mandala or doily shapes that are in the main kit. And what I did off camera is to stitch some white thread through the holes of those chipboard buttons. And then I am just adhering all the layers together. So you can see that I'm using some liquid adhesive. It's called Zip Dry Adhesive. And I use that so that it would dry quickly and I could get through this project a little bit without having to wait for glue to dry. As it turns out, it does not dry quickly enough. I don't know if it was the acetate or what, but it did not dry quickly. And what I ended up doing was going back and stapling the flowers with my tiny attacher. And you'll see that in just a minute. So actually, if I were to do it again, I would skip the step of liquid adhesive and just take my tiny attacher right from the beginning. So what I did, I stitched through those chipboard buttons, as I mentioned, and then to hold the white crochet thread that I used on those chipboard buttons, I just put a piece of double-sided tape. So you may have seen me remove the backing for some adhesive, and that's what was on the back of those, and that worked great. I just didn't want to do that to every single layer. So okay, now that I have the flowers put together, all I am doing is I'm taking the bottom layer of the flower and kind of gently bending the petals backwards. And then on the top layers, then I bent the petals, I gently bent them up, if that makes sense. And that just gives your flower more dimension to pop off the page. So, I gotta fix this flower, and then we'll go back to giving these petals some dimension. So you can see there on the back, I just did the back and bent them gently backwards. And then all of the other layers, the layers on top, I just gently bent those up. And that's just a fun tip to give your flowers an added layer of dimension. So we're just going back and stapling those flowers. I love this really pretty navy flower. I think that's probably my favorite piece from that whole flower building kit in the embellishment kit. That was such a fun embellishment kit. I hope that we get those again in future kits because they're really fun. And then I'm just stapling that last flower, and they're bending the back layer of petals backwards, and then those top layers of petals, I'm gently bending those up to give that last flower a lot of texture and dimension. And then I'm ready to adhere the flowers to the background. So I have 4 flowers there, and I'm going to keep them in that basic shape that you see there, kind of like an arch, but a little bit, I guess it's a little bit wonky because it's longer on one side. But there I'm just measuring to make sure that I adhered the flower on the left first, and then the flower on the right second, and then I can fill in the gaps equally between the other 2 flowers that I have left. The other thing that I was watching for is to make sure that I have the same distance on the right margin as I do on the left margin. And then I'm going to adhere my photo. So I just have one photo that is a little bit smaller than 4x6. And I was just tucking that in carefully to make sure there's that sign that's behind on the wall behind my mom and my son, that I want to make sure that that sign is seen because that's an important part of the story. So I'm just carefully tucking that into that flower there on the top left to make sure that that you can still see that sign. So now I am taking these gorgeous pink puffy letter stickers from the main kit to create my title. And the title is Cole and Grammy. And I chose a longer title because I'm getting towards the end of my kits. I think this is layout 6 or 7 maybe that I have made with these kits, and so I'm kind of getting down to where I've got just bits and pieces left, and I want to use as many letter stickers as possible. So initially I thought I'd just put, one word, maybe the word Grammy, but it ended up working out well to have that longer title, and I was thrilled to use up some more of those letter stickers. So we just use my T-square ruler there to make sure that I have those letter stickers straight, and then I'm putting down my journaling strips now. So I had already put some double-sided tape on the back of my journaling strips. I print my journaling at home just on regular printer paper. This one I did print it on landscape so that I had a little bit more. I took full advantage of having that little bit of an extra space when you do that, when you print on landscape. And then I just have an 1/8-inch double-sided tape on the back of my strips, and I'm just placing those under the title and photo. So now that I have my title and photos and journaling in place, as well as those gorgeous flowers, I just have a couple more embellishments that I want to add, and that is the butterflies. And that's where I was inspired most by the mood board. There were 2 things actually, the colors and the butterflies. And so I wanted to make sure and include the butterflies, of course. And that's the other embellishment that I did use up completely, was the package of butterfly stickers. And then I think there was a couple other little pieces in there as well, but I all used those all up too. So I am so excited that I was able to use um, so many of the elements from these kits are gone. I used them all. So I'm just showing you what elements I was inspired by on the mood board, and that's everything. So thank you so much for stopping by. Make sure that you give this video the thumbs up, and also make sure that you are subscribed. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you again soon.